Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video and the third episode in a new mini-series on the channel. Today we will be talking about the Newcastle United wingers or wide players. I want to talk about current players at the club, strategy, formation going into the new season, but also transfers and what players Newcastle should be looking to buy this window. I do have a few named examples, but really it's the type of player we should be looking at. As I've mentioned, this is the third episode now. We've already done centre-backs, strikers, and I do hope to also do centre-mids, full-backs, goalkeepers. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that big red button. It's free. It means you guys do not miss any future episodes. Through the majority of last season, Newcastle played with two wide players, one on the left, one on the right, with a single striker up front, ideally Callum Wilson, but mostly Chris Wood last season, and who knows going into the new season. But generally, as we talk about wide players, we had one on the left, one on the right. Majority, it was St Max out on the left, a player who, let's be honest, has caused a bit of a 50-50 split between fans on whether they are happy with his performance, not happy with his performance. Generally, I am a fan of St Maximin, and we will come on to stats, goals, assists very soon. And of all the players in terms of left or right wide players, St Max did contribute the most. He got 5 goals last season, only bettered by Callum Wilson, and was joint on 5 as the second highest scorer with Bruno. So he did put the goals in for us. He also picked up 5 assists and played 35 games. He was joint highest number of games played alongside Joe Linton, and actually had the highest number of starts of any Newcastle player last season with 31, which shows, although he has had a couple of injury issues, fitness issues, he started the most games of any player for us last season, which is actually quite an interesting fact because it's not the player I would have guessed. And I will add, all the stats we talk about in this video will be for the Premier League only, so these are domestic league stats. I mean, we didn't really have a cup run anyway, but I thought I'd just make you guys aware that's what we are looking at today. We also have Ryan Fraser, 28 years old, has 3 years left on his deal. He played 27 times for Newcastle last season with 18 starts. Again, Fraser is another player who had a couple of injury issues, but generally, since Eddie Howe came in, has certainly been one of the most improved players. I remember when we brought him in on that free transfer, and I genuinely thought we have picked up an absolute steal here, to be honest, on a free. And under Steve Bruce, just couldn't excel. But now, for me, in terms of the current players we have available, really, Fraser and St Max both want to play on the left. But in terms of what we've got right now, for me, my starting lineup in terms of those front three, it would be St Max on the left, Fraser out on the right, with again Callum Wilson up front. In terms of stats, Fraser got 2 goals this season and 3 assists, which puts him second behind St Max in terms of goal contributions for the wide players this season. Next up, let's talk about Jacob Murphy, the 27-year-old with 5 years left on his deal. We must have given him some sort of superhuman contract to still have 5 more years left. He played 33 times this season, so only 2 games short of Joe Linton and St Max, but only started 13 times, so he actually came off the bench more times than he started. In terms of contributions, he got 1 goal and 2 assists. I will include Richie in this list, whether he's really a wide player anymore. We've tried to move him into a kind of left back, left wing back position, which, to be honest, I think suits him even less. I think at least if we put him out on the left wing, he's got a decent peg. He can get the ball in. The trouble is he just doesn't really have the pace for it anymore, really, and generally has just dropped off a bit. But he's 32 years old. He's been a fantastic servant of the club. He has 1 year left on his deal, so I think it will be very interesting to see what happens with him this summer and this season. Is this the last season for Richie? I think for me it is. I think even if we tried to sell him this summer, how much are we going to get? 5, million, 10 million maximum. Maybe a championship club might be willing to offer him a 2 or 3 year deal. So it could be for him, it might be better for him to go, because at least he knows he can try and line up a longer term contract, unless maybe he's happy to have a year and leave. But he played 18 times through the season with 14 starts. The majority of them were all at the start of the season, really, weren't they? He really didn't get much of a game once Eddie Howe came in. But during that time, he got 0 goals but picked up 2 assists. And the final wide player in the current squad to talk about is Miguel Almiron. Now, I will put a little caveat in for Almiron here, because really, is he a winger? Is he not a centre attacking midfielder that we've just kind of chucked on the wing and made him play there? So I will give him a little benefit of the doubt, but, and there is a reason I've finished with him. He's 28 years old, he's got 2 years left. Again, another player who I think some people might not be disappointed to see go this summer, but in terms of stats, played 30 games this season, 19 starts, 1 goal. It was a wonder goal, by the way. It was a wonder goal against Crystal Palace, and I was sat behind the goal for that game, so it was a fantastic goal, but one nonetheless, an important one, but still one nonetheless, with 0 assists. Almiron got less goal contributions than Matt Ritchie did, which is saying something. His goals per 90 minutes is 0.05. And yes, numbers aren't everything. He works hard, he contributes a lot to the team, but that's the reason that I've kind of finished on Almiron. And I'm not trying to pick on him in any way, shape or form. Again, we are in theory playing him out of position. He does add a lot in terms of work rate, but the numbers aren't there. And we are going to talk about transfers now, and that's where Newcastle need to be looking. Again, you talk about Wilson, top goal scorer with 8 goals. He only played 18 games, which is phenomenal for Callum Wilson to score pretty much a goal every other game for someone who missed half the season. And again, 5 goals from St. Max, it's okay. It's better than the rest of the guys on this list, and we'll get onto this when we talk about midfielders more in a different video. But Bruno came in as the playmaker, potentially even defensive type midfielder. He came out with 5 goals. It's a good job Bruno came in with his shooting boots on, because he really did make a difference that season. And yes, strikers are there to score, but they need to be backed up with players behind them. And at the minute, we aren't getting a lot of that from our wide players, or really the midfielders, but today we are going to concentrate on the wide players. We assume that Eddie Howe will go into the new season with a similar formation, similar style of play. Again, it'll be interesting to see if we do go out and bring in a new striker. Could we potentially see 2 up top? Could we see a player like Paqueta or a centre attacking midfielder just help link up that play? And again, I want to talk about that more for the midfielders, but generally we need to go out, we need to bring players in who are going to support the striker with goals and assists. You know, Chris Wood came in and didn't have an easy time of it, but it doesn't help him when it's all on him, because nobody else is scoring. So in terms of wingers, wide players that we want to go out and get, not just for goals, by the way, I should add that, goal contributions. We want to see assists, we want to see players get the ball in. Almiron having 0 assists for the entire season after playing 30 games, 19 starts, it's just not good enough. Again, the work rate is fantastic, and he will always get a huge pat on the back. But as Newcastle step into this new era, we are hoping to have a lot more of the ball. You know, back under Steve Bruce, when Almiron did all that defensive work, that's great, because we didn't have the ball. We defended for 90 minutes, so we needed that work rate. Under Eddie Howe, we have a lot more of the ball, we have a lot more possession, and when we get into those front areas, we need players who can do something with it. We need someone like Bruno, who came in and knew what to do, knew how to find the back of the net. We need more of that. A player that Newcastle have been highly linked with is the French right winger Musa Diaby, currently playing his football over in Germany for Bayer Leverkusen, and he is pretty much giving us, or would give us, exactly what I've spoken about already in terms of stats, numbers, goals, assists. He played 32 games in the Bundesliga last year, helping Bayer Leverkusen get 3rd in the league. Of those 32 times, he started 32. So straight away, he's played pretty much every game available. He got 13 goals and 12 assists. He got 0.42 goals per 90 minutes. So he scored almost a goal every other game. That's up there with Callum Wilson stats. That's up there with striker stats. And this is for a wide player. He has got more goal contributions. He has got more than double the amount of goal contributions of all of our wide players added together. So this guy is a real talent, and that is why they are valuing him at around 55 to 60 million. So it will not be an easy buy, but it's the kind of player we should be going for. Again, Newcastle have done some great work so far, bringing in Nick Pope, target. Sven Botman's obviously a huge one. We've kind of done that structural work at the back. We've kind of solidified that at the back. Now we need to go out and probably spend bigger. We need to go out and bring in those flair players, those attacking players, those players that make the difference at the other end of the pitch. The thing is, he's only 22 years old as well, so he's got a great future ahead of him. Musa Diaby is the player that everybody is talking about right now, with good reason, to be honest. He's quick, he's powerful, he's young, he wants to score goals, and he's direct. I think that's a good word for this video. He's direct. He wants to get the ball in. He wants to get the shot off. The problem is, he's very expensive. And it's reported that Bayer Leverkusen don't actually want to sell him anyway. But the point is, we are going in for a player like Diaby, a player who is direct. And another player we have been linked with, and it has been a bit 50-50 in terms of reactions from fans on this one. He is a little bit injury prone, but I'm going to mention him anyway. It is Sarr, the player who got relegated with Watford. 24 years old, is highly linked with a move back to the Premier League. Played 22 games for Watford in their relegated season. Started 21 of those games, but got 5 goals and 2 assists in a side that got relegated and only played 2/3 of the season. Again, I would say he is a direct player. He wants to get into those areas and he wants to make something happen. Obviously, stats are not everything, but again, just to give a quick overall, Sarr got 5 goals and 2 assists in 22 games. That is less than St. Max. That is 3 assists less than St. Max, but having played 15 less games, and it is still above Miggy, Murphy, Fraser, Richie. So again, valued at around 20 million, is about the third of the price of Diaby. Again, I would prefer to see us go out and spend the big money on Diaby because I think he is certainly one for now and the future. But in terms of bringing in a winger like Sarr, again, I don't want to use names too much. It's really about what kind of player we should be looking for. And I think generally what I'm trying to say is that some of these guys are great. Richie works hard when he plays. Almiron works very hard. Murphy is a Newcastle fan. He comes in, he works hard. He's got 5 years left on his deal. I really want him to come out and have a great season. I'm not going to lie. And Fraser has improved so much under Eddie Howe. 2 goals, 3 assists. But generally, unless Callum Wilson comes out the blocks and decides to stay fit all season and score 25 goals, because if he does that, the rest of this doesn't matter too much, really. We need to help with more goals. But generally, if we have a striker who's going to score 25, 30 goals, then hey, if Wilson's going to score 8, we need to support him more. And that's what I want to see us go out and do this window. Again, St. Max and Fraser are really two left, prefer to play on the left. But we force Fraser on the right because he's still the better option. That right side of midfield needs to be supported this summer, and I do expect us to go out and spend in that area, and I do expect it to be a player who will hopefully add with more goal contributions. If there's a player that I've not mentioned here that you think should be on our list of players to look at this summer, please let me know down in the comments. If you guys have enjoyed this video, be sure to click here and check out my video on the striker situation. Very similar to this one, we look at the current strikers and strikers we are linked with in the transfer window. If you've not subscribed yet, hit that big red button. It really helps the channel. It's free to do so. It means you guys do not miss a video in future. And again, I want to continue this series, so drop a like if you have enjoyed it. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.